Hello, 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 and welcome to the Efficient Practice Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Evelyn Samuel, and I'm so excited about our show today. If you haven't joined already, please join our free Facebook group. It's called the Efficiency Now Network, and you can also follow the Efficiency Institute at efficiencyinstitute.com. And for other information, you can check out my other website, which is drevelynsamuel.com. So I am really excited about today's show. We have a very, very exciting guest on the show, Dr. Darwin Hayes. Dr. Darwin Hayes and I go way back, way back. So back in the day in dental school, we met at one of the conventions many years ago. And so Dr. Hayes is going to be dropping some pearls of wisdom for us today. He is the new dentist coach, and so he has a lot of information. So you're going to want to tune into this episode because it's going to be really good. So before we get started, I'm just going to read a little bit about Dr. Hayes, and then we'll jump into your interview. Sounds good? All right. So Dr. Darwin K. Hayes is the lead co-director of the General Practice Residency Program at BronxCare Health System, formerly Bronx-Lebanon Hospital Center in the Bronx, New York, the second largest GPR program in the U.S. He is part of an institution and dental department that has trained over 700 new dentists in the areas of general and hospital dentistry, pediatric dentistry, and orthodontics in the past 28 years. Additionally, he serves as chair of the administration board for the ADEA Council of Hospitals and Advanced Education Programs. Prior to these appointments, Dr. Hayes served 4 years in active duty service in the Air Force as an advanced clinical dentist. He held the role as a lead dentist in a corporate dentistry entity and owner-founder of his practice, the Center for Smile Dentistry in Burbank, California. Dr. Hayes is a CODA site visitor and success program speaker with the ADEA, teaching dental students and residents about life after school and residency. He serves as co-chair of the New Dentist Conference Committee within the National Dental Association. He is an active member of the American Dental Association, New Jersey Dental Association, the Mercer County Dental Society, the National Dental Association, and the Greater New York Metropolitan Dental Society. He was awarded fellow status with the Academy of General Dentistry in 2003. He is a proud graduate of the University of Maryland School of Dentistry and the GPR program at Bronx-Lebanon Hospital. In 2014, he received his certificate in dental education from the University of the Pacific's Benerd School of Education and Dugoni School of Dentistry. In 2017, he completed the 2-year Executive Master's Program in Healthcare Administration from George Washington University's Milken Institute School of Public Health. Dr. Hayes practices part-time both in a small private practice in Trenton, New Jersey with his uncle and in the faculty practice within the residency program. On his days off, you'll find him on social media communicating to and helping new dentists and documenting his daily adventures as a coach, mentor to new dentists, and as a dad to his son Donovan. Dr. Hayes can be reached at newdentistcoach@gmail.com. Welcome to the show, Dr. Darwin.
Wow, that was a lot. I had to recap. I didn't realize I had done so much in these last 2 years. No,
absolutely. Very impressive. Very impressive. So I know you have a lot of information to share with the listeners. And I just can't wait to dive deep into this interview so that we can get some of those pearls of wisdom out to the listeners. So before we get really started, I just want you to kind of tell us a little bit about, your journey. What led you into dentistry? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born in Saudi Arabia, Dhahran, Saudi Arabia. My dad was a dental technician who actually took an opportunity overseas, and my mom was a teacher. She taught at Dahran Academy in Saudi Arabia. So I was born there, was maybe there for maybe about 6 or 7 months. Don't remember a lot. Actually don't remember anything. Came over to the States after that and came back to my parents' home state of New Jersey. Growing up, I was very artistic, very athletic and artistic. And actually, even though I had a dad who was a dental technician and I had an uncle who was a dentist, my mom's brother, I decided to pursue something a little bit more creative and artistic, which was architecture. My undergrad degree from the University of Maryland, from the University of Virginia, is a bachelor's in architecture. And I actually worked in the DC area for about 3 or 4 years doing project management, as a project engineer and project manager on a couple big construction companies that are still in existence right now in DC. Did that for about 3 or 4 years, and then I had a career change. I was actually at a family reunion, and my uncle, who's the dentist, was a guest speaker, and it was just something very, very moving about what he was talking about to all of us at the reunion. And he kept mentioning family and how good it was and how great it was to actually be able to interact and see a lot of cousins and aunts and uncles that he hadn't seen maybe in 20 years, if not not longer. And he's always been a father, big brother, in addition to being an uncle, but a very magnetizing figure growing up for me. So I kept hearing this thing about family, and I was actually working at the time in a family business. Both of the firms that I was working in were family businesses to some extent, and it just clicked. It just hit me. Wow, family business. Yeah, I could become a dentist, work with my uncle, who I love, and continue the tradition of a family business and keep the family business, kind of moving. So I asked him what he thought, what he thought about my idea. He was like, "Oh yeah, that would be easy for you. You're already you're artistic, you're creative, you got good hand-eye coordination. You just have to, get buckled down on your sciences, some of which you've already taken. You should be a shoo-in." So while I was working in DC, working 40, 50 hours a week, I went back to school at night, took some classes while I was working for some of the prerequisites, got into University of Maryland, which was my first choice. And I just happened to have a couple of classmates from undergrad that were in dental school at the time, and applied, got in, and the rest is history.
Oh my goodness, that's such an interesting story. I mean, you kind of had it in your blood from the beginning.
There you go.
It's very interesting. Artistic. Your dad was a dental technician, and in a roundabout way, you ended up in dentistry, even though that wasn't your first career choice. Wow, that's amazing. So you said it was in the family. Your uncle. You did your architectural undergrad program, and then you got into dental school. Is your uncle in the DC metropolitan area where you were working, or?
No, he was in New Jersey. He's been practicing here in New Jersey for probably close to almost 40 years.
Oh wow! And do you practice with him now as well?
Part-time,
Yeah, you did
sometimes
mention
on weekends. Before I started working and went back to to the hospital where I did my GPR training. Prior to that, I was working with him a little bit part-time and try to do the same currently now. But I would say 90% of my time is dedicated, if not more, dedicated to running the GPR program in New York.
Okay, wow. So let me ask you this. So you were in architecture first, and then you went into dentistry. Is dentistry what you expected it to be?
It is, and it isn't. right? Primarily because, what you hear about dentistry in dental schools is a little bit different than what you experience in private practice. Now, keep in mind though, I have always have had and always, I remember visiting my uncle. He was my dentist for years. So I've had some of those memories and some of those thoughts as a kid growing up, going to the dentist, going to my uncle as a dentist. And then even pretty much during dental school, I would hear more about the practice of dentistry, the business of dentistry, in addition to, of course, the clinical side and things that we're doing and learning as dental students. But it really wasn't until after dental school, after practicing 4 years in the military, in the Air Force, and actually working in private practice, that you got a chance to really absorb and really comprehend the different dynamics within the business and the practice of dentistry. I would say my best experience transitioning from the military practice of dentistry into private ownership, or being an owner or a partner in a business, was actually working in Houston for a big cosmetic practice in Houston, by which my uncle actually made the introduction. One of the things I always remember him saying was, if you're thinking about practicing general dentistry and understanding the dynamics of what it really takes to not only open an office, but to run the office on a day-to-day basis, he said, you've got to go to Houston, Texas, and meet up with my buddy, Dr. Pumphrey. You got to go to see Dr. Pumphrey's office. He said, just go down there, meet him, absorb as much as you can. And if for some reason, if your paths that cross are good and it's a win-win for both of you, I would suggest you work with him for a couple of years, just so you have that exposure, so you can really see what it takes to practice dentistry.
Good. So you mentioned quite a few things there that were pretty paramount, like you said, the business of dentistry. And you were obviously able to observe these things at that practice. So you work with residents, and you're also working a lot with new dentists.
Right.
What are some of the things that you find that they're concerned with? And some of the things a few things that you advise them on as well.
Well, one of the first things that we advise them and find out, well, let me back up. First, it's very important, I think, not only as a mentor, but not only as a new dentist coach, but just as a practicing dentist that's been doing it for 20 years now, over 20 years now. One of the biggest challenges coming out of dental school as a new dentist is not knowing what you don't really know, to the point where you're able to seek out help. So I tell the new dentist, you don't know what you don't know until you run into a situation where you're like, oh man, I don't know this.
So, I use that all the time, by the way. You don't know what you don't know.
No, you have no idea.
Right.
And granted, most of the schools will prepare you, right? They prepare you
clinically.
Right, but they don't prepare. But even then, some of the things they just don't have enough time to prepare you for a lot of things clinically. They give you somewhat of a good foundation, and that's it. You're done. All right, which can be a detriment to us. So that is why one of the things that I always recommend to all new dentists, and when I say new dentists, I mean pre-dentals, current dental students, residents, and those that are practicing anywhere from 5 to 8 years after graduating dental school. I kind of lump all of them in together because that's just kind of like how I see them. But one of the things that I recommend and strongly suggest, is that everyone do a residency. Everyone needs to do a residency.
Now, I've heard you say that quite a bit. I've heard you say that, and I too did a residency. So, but how do you handle the person that says, well, You know, I know dentists that come out and they went straight into private practice and they started a practice, and you know, why should I have to do a residency?
Right. Well, because you don't know what you don't know until you run into a situation where you're like, oh, I don't know that. Right.
Right.
Not only that, but most offices now prefer to have an associate, even if they're a new associate, new graduate, that has some more clinical experience. All right. Lots of times, well, getting back to my notion about the residency and everyone doing one, it's not optional. I don't feel like it's optional. It's not an option. You must do a residency. If you look at our medicine counterparts, their training goes on after graduation from medical school for years and years and years, with residencies that are 2 or 3 or 4 years long, and then they do fellowships, and then they do it, maybe some additional fellowships. Then they'll do some other residencies in addition to that. So their training, their practicing of medicine is also learning. They have a much longer educational span as far as learning and training than we do. So that 1 year that we have in comparison to the 5 or 6 years that medicine colleagues have, it's much different. Now, I always say that the clinical training that you'll get out of an AEGD program or a hospital-based training program, it's going to be more than what you have in dental school. And one of the main things and the reason why I say that is because in dental school, we've had appointments that are 2.5, 3 hours long.
Yes, that's true.
And you'll find that in private practice, that don't work.
Yeah, I don't know many patients that I want to come and sit 3 hours for one surface filling.
Yeah, that does not work for the patient, doesn't work for the provider, and it doesn't work for the office business-wise, right? So one of the things that you're going to get by doing a residency, you're going to increase your speed and your confidence in getting procedures done. But that comes after repetition. That comes from seeing more than 2 patients a day. All right. So those are some of the benefits of doing a residency just off the bat. In addition to what I've mentioned, that most offices, they want somebody with a little bit more experience. All right.
And it gives you a new perspective. You know, we all go to our different schools and we have our different programs, and our programs may be stronger in certain areas, but it exposes you, to something different.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we every year we have at least a handful of the 32 or 33 residents that we have. We have at least less than 10% of them that have not done a molar root canal and have graduated dental school without doing a molar root canal.
Well, I'll tell you that we had endo residents at Alabama, and so priority would, of course, go to the residents, the people who are going through an endo program to do the molar root canals. And as a result, I refer a lot of those out. I refer all those out.
There you go.
I prefer not to do them, but yeah, so there's a lot to be said about that.
So you're right, as it relates to, we come from different backgrounds, different learning environments, different things as far as how to do different procedures a certain way. There's a University of Alabama way, there's a University of Maryland way, there's a Meharry way, there's a UCLA way. All those things, when you're doing a residency, especially a residency where you've got a diverse population of residents coming from different schools, guess what? Doing a residency will allow you to be exposed to your co-residents and how they've learned in addition to that. So not only are you going to be learning from your attendings, but you're going to be learning from your co-residents as well, which is a plus, which will be something that you won't get if you're not necessarily doing a residency. And doing that residency year is a great time to learn and being in an environment where you can actually actively ask questions and get some help, get some mentorship, get some guidance, right? If you're in private practice, the only guidance typically sometimes you'll get from the owner dentist is, Doc, you got to pick it up. We got 5 more patients to be seen. I need you to do that check, that check, that check. There's no time for maybe interactions and conversations and she or he looking over your shoulder to help you. That environment is somewhat lost these days. So,
and they're going to be looking at the financial aspect of it as well. You know, you
time
have
is money. Money is time.
That's right.
Go fast so you don't get behind.
That is exactly right.
That speed is what you're going to gain from doing a residency. So that's one of the things that the most residents are concerned about. Lack of confidence, wanting to get more exposure, clinical exposure to procedures, and increasing their speed. Those are the things that we always find through in the interviews are some of the reasons why residents or potential residents want to do some additional advanced dental training.
Okay.
And there was something else you mentioned. Another concern most residents have. Every year I do a survey, and I do a survey both with our current residents at the end of the year, and then also we do a survey of the actual candidates when they're interviewing. One of the questions that we ask them is the following. To you, in your own words, what do you think is what is the number one dilemma that faces you as a new dentist? And we give them 3 to 5 choices. And actually, I just did the survey, did the tally of the survey earlier today. And the 3 things that new dentists say, candidates and then also recent graduates and then also completers of residency programs are student debt, right? Student debt, the level of confidence in doing certain procedures, and the third, and this is not in any particular order, the third one is the business side of dentistry. Those are the 3 things that people are most concerned about or feel that is a dilemma for them. So doing a residency, whether it's 1 year or 2 years, is not going to completely solve all 3 of them, but it's going to get you a step closer to understanding, being more comfortable, being more confident, being able to interact with more dentists to learn and to be taught and to be coached and get some more exposure to the business of dentistry. So the residency is just another step in getting and fulfilling your commitment to lifelong learning.
And you said that's amazing. That's true. It's a continual learning process, and it starts with the residency.
That's right.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you served in you're in the Air Force. Now, are you still doing any kind of what is it like the weekends, the drills? Are you still like reserves?
Right.
Reserves at all?
No, I was active duty for 4 years. I didn't. I was not in the reserves afterwards. I mean, that is a path that some dentists will take after serving active duty, where you do the weekend drills.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that I do kind of contribute to that mission as a contractor, there are times where the Air Force, the Army, the Navy may need contracting dentists to do exams for active duty members that are getting ready to be deployed overseas or different duty stations throughout the world. And I will serve as a contractor, and we do what we call readiness exams to make sure that the soldiers are ready to be deployed, that there's not any circumstances or health circumstances that may prevent them from being able to be away for 6 months or 12 months or 18 months without any dental care. So that's my only connection that I still maintain.
Okay. Well, we thank you for your service.
Yes.
For serving those 4 years and for helping the soldiers get ready to ship out. So that's
Of
Yeah, that's
course.
really good as well. So we thank you for that as well. We were talking about how the students are coming out with a lot of debt these days, and I will eventually have some people on the show to kind of help talk about ways that they can circumvent or programs that they can do per se to pay back some of those loans. And you said that is one of the concerns that your new dentists are voicing to you in
Right.
terms of the debt that they're coming out with these days. So that's something we'll definitely try to add to the show as well. So you're doing some exciting new things now. You're working with the residents, and you've been there for how many years have you been over the
7.
rest? 7 years.
Mhm.
And so you're probably seeing a lot of people come through, and they're probably coming back and telling you how the residency program did benefit them now that they're in private
Of
practice.
course, especially the ones that hated residency, that didn't wanna see all the patients. That when they make that transition from 2 or 3 patients a day to uh, uh, 10 to 12, and they're just like sweating bullets trying to figure out how am I going to be able to make the transition. And everybody starts at the same point in July, and over the course of the year they make the transition, you know, without any problem. But yeah, we always get the ones a year or two later that say, Dr. Hayes or Dr. So and so, thank you so much um, for the residency and the structure of it. I really didn't understand why it was structured that way or why we had to do these things. But now that I'm in private practice, the owner dentist or the assistant or the office manager, they always are asking me, where did I do my training, or, where I did my residency. And I say Bronx-Lebanon. And so, it really prepared me for a lot more than I thought it would when I was a resident. And I'm just nodding my head like, yeah, I told you. I told you. So, again, that's one of the advantages of doing the residency. But yes, it's going to prepare you. It's going to give you, again, that next level of training that you're not going to be able to get. It's a different type of training and exposure that you don't necessarily always get just coming right out of school.
That's right. So you're continuing to help new dentists. You're helping the residents, but you're also doing some exciting new things. You're all over social media, and you're putting out lots of great content because I follow you on all your mediums.
Oh, good.
So can you tell the listeners a little bit about the exciting things that you're doing on in social media and to help new dentists through
Of
that?
course. So yeah, absolutely. So every week I have a couple of videos that we post, that we record and kind of put out to the internet ether out there, the social media ether, I call it. But a lot of it's based off of questions that new dentists have, whether they be pre-dentals that are applying to dental school and they want to get some tips and strategies, or they have some questions, current dental students about how to approach the upcoming year or how to prepare for boards. Also those that are applying to residencies, some tips and strategies on how to get into residencies, whether they be general dentistry residencies or even specialty residencies. And then new dentists, excuse me, current dentists that are going into private practice for the first time, either opening up their practice, maybe going into a partnership, or just being an associate and trying to figure out all the ins and outs of not only treating patients, but dealing with schedules, dealing with patients as far as finances, dealing with people in the office that they work with, but they don't pay, but they work with them and they have allegiance to the owner, but not necessarily to them. How to work out those dynamics, how to keep your own personal production records, and making sure that your paycheck over here matches up with your production. All those things, those dynamics that you don't have to worry about as a dental student or even as a resident, come full face, 360 degrees, boom, right in your face when you're working for the first time. So we have a weekly show called Ask Dr. Darwin, where we have some of those questions that come in. Actually, lately, we've been getting a lot of inquiries from a lot of the international or foreign trained dentists that are looking to come to America and become a licensed dentist here. So I've been getting a lot of inquiries from Japan, Russia, Brazil, over in India. I mean, just people that are looking to come here and to either to specialize and or to practice. So there's a segment of one of the series that I do is just based on foreign trained dentists and getting them that information. We have a segment that's based on how to get into dental school, how to get into residency, some tips for some of the specific programs as far as pedo, ortho, oral surgery. And again, a lot of the information that I share with a lot of the new dentists is based off of interviews that I actually do, right, of those experts, those specialists throughout the country, and feeding back and getting some feedback from them as to their experiences, but also talking to program directors at various residency programs, what they look for in candidates, and being involved with ADEA, the American Dental Educational Association, allows me to have those connections and those networks and be able to talk to program directors about things that are going on in their program, but also things that are happening within dental education. So we also have a series that I call This Week in Dentistry, where I find a topic of interest that I think also new dentists and other dentists will be interested in, and we just showcase it and give reference to where it may be, whether it be in a journal, whether it be on Dr. Bicuspid, whether it be in Dental Town, just to kind of keep people abreast of things that are happening, because there's so much information that comes to us now these days, especially for us as practicing dentists, that between the journals and what's on social media and then what people are producing on LinkedIn, it's just hard to keep up. So that series, This Week in Dentistry, kind of does that. And then also I do some one-on-one coaching, whether there be pre-dental students, current dental students, or even residents, or even those that are practicing now. Do some one-on-one coaching where we come up with the actual a goal and a target, come up with an action plan, and then we just knock it out. We have weekly or monthly calls, and I kind of serve as an accountability partner, but also to kind of help them stay on the right GPS to get them from A to B or from B to C and so on. So we have it's called my Smile to Success coaching program, where we work with individuals one-on-one as well. In addition to doing some new collaborations with people like yourself, some other dental influencers that are known throughout social media. And so it's a nonstop process, but it's a great process because it's fun. Get a chance to interact with people and find pleasure in actually helping those and extending that help to those that are looking for it so eagerly. Again, as an extension of what we just don't have enough time to get in dental school. That's why it's so important that there are people like you and myself and others that are out there that have a passion for reaching back as we go forward, reaching back and helping those people. So that's what my mission has been these last 2 or 3 years, to try to help as many new dentists as possible with personal and professional development. And that has many different layers.
It does. Well, that's amazing. And if someone is listening to this show, and I'm sure there are probably going to be international new dentist people all over the country, all over the world, they're going to hear what you're saying, and something is going to resonate with them. How do they get in touch with you if they want to do one-on-one coaching person?
Right. Yeah, best way to get in contact with me is via email. newdentistcoach@gmail.com.
I see that over your shoulder right there.
There you go, newdentistcoach@gmail.com right there. That's the best way to get in contact with me. Actually, I just spoke to someone from Saudi Arabia yesterday, and we've been trying to set up a time where we can talk through the different time zones. But he's graduating out of dental school there, and he wants to come to the U.S., do a residency and everything else. So that's the best way to reach me. You can also follow me, my YouTube channel, Dr. Darwin Speaks on YouTube. We have close to about 200 videos. We're every day, we're trying to do 1 or 2 more new videos to add to that. It's different playlists. You can go check it out. You can reach me there. I'm also on LinkedIn, social media, other social media sites, Instagram at _new_dentist_coach. That's the Instagram. And but I think the best way is the email, and also Dr. Darwin Speaks.
All right. Well, that's just amazing. So I would definitely say this sounds like it's your why. Like you definitely have a purpose, and you're helping a lot of people.
Right.
And so that's just amazing. And where were you when I finished dental school? You're finishing dental school with me.
That's right. That's right. We both were looking for some answers.
So we didn't have people like you back when we finished. So this is your world of knowledge. And I just hope that there are a lot of people that are listening, and they will be smart and contact you and follow those videos, because there's a lot of free information out there that you're giving out. You're giving out amazing content, and so they can learn on any of those channels.
Yeah, well, that's funny you say that, because I get some flack from a couple friends. They're like, "Why are you giving out all that information?
Why are you giving it away free?"
And I'm like, if it's not me, it's going to be somebody else that they're going to get it from. It's out there. It's just a matter of, all right, well, how do I apply it? I mean, look, people, I got books behind me, right? I got some books behind me here. Those books mean nothing. These books mean nothing if I just read them. But if I don't apply the information and don't have somebody to make me accountable to apply and implement it, then there you go. So one of the things that I think that the information does is just gives you the information, but at some point, you still have to implement it. You've got to grind it out. You got to come up with an action plan, and then you got to do it. So, having a coach or having a mentor that makes you accountable and says, all right, Dr. Evelyn, it's Thursday. You're supposed to have this to me Wednesday. What's up? And what's your plan? And what are you doing then? And what are you thinking about that after this? And then what's the next step? Again, the information is great. Yeah, it may be free, but it means nothing if you don't apply it.
That's exactly right. Accountability partner holds you accountable.
There you go.
And they're much more successful.
Right. So yeah, the information is free, at least for right now. But again, if you don't know how to implement it, then you might as well not even have the information. Right. It's going to cost you in the long run not to be able to apply and to implement it. So
that's exactly right. So those friends that are giving you flat, well said. Well said, Dr. Darwin. You got to have accountability along with that. So you mentioned a lot of things, and some of the things that you have upcoming. What's next for Dr. Darwin?
Well, we're in the process. We're expanding with our coaching platform. We're actually getting ready to set up a new live online seminar series. There's still a lot of people that go to big conventions, go to big seminars where they still have to get a hotel room, travel, take time away from the office. And so we come up with a couple of new ways to kind of implement and provide information for new dentists that may not, so that they don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money, right? Because they're very conscious about the student loan debt and their money that they're generating out of working every day. So we're making it a little bit more convenient, but also more socially acceptable as to what's going on in the marketplace. So we're putting together a couple of new seminars, a 2-day seminar, live seminar with a couple of people that you know of, and are also influencers and have some great information that that can be very useful to new dentists. In addition to that, we are in the process. I'm in the process of writing this book. It's been at least 3 or 4 years in the making. It always seems like when you're trying to put something like that together, life and other things always get in the way. But there's a new dentist playbook. Some points of professional success is coming out very, very soon.
So I'm going to have to be your accountability partner on that.
That's right. That's right. I see your book up there, so that's right. That's right. And we're just going to continue to collaborate. One of the things I've been doing recently is collaborating with a lot of the dental students. There's some amazing, amazing dental students that are doing some great things as far as reaching back. I mean, even students that are first year in dental school or many of them have platforms on social media where they're giving people the 411 about the D1 year or the D2 year and how they got into school and everything, which is great because I tell the residents and also dental students, I said, even as a dental student, you could be making some money right now. I know you're paying out a lot of money to go to school, but you could be making some money right now, whether it be tutoring, mentoring, doing other things, assisting in offices, all those different research, all those things where you can potentially give back, but also get paid to give back too. So again, just collaborating with a lot of known and unknown influencers in dentistry, whether they be new dentists, whether they be established dentists, and again, just really, really surveying the area to make sure that what people say they're looking for and they need, we're able to give that to them in a complete package so that it's easier, but it's also concise, but it's helpful to the point where it can make an impact on what they do day to day, so that that can also make an impact to them and for their families as well.
All right. Well, amazing. That's absolutely wonderful. And I am so excited to have had this time chatting with you. I look forward to this 2-day seminar. I can't wait till that comes out. And I'm going to be checking in with you on the book as well.
Yes, please.
So, I thank you for coming on the show. You've given us so much information today. And what we definitely want to do is as you're developing these new things and your new and exciting and upcoming projects, we'll have you back on the show. And you can kind of give us an update as those progress.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you like this show, make sure to like us. The show is going to be in 2 formats. It is a podcast, and we also have a YouTube channel, so give us a thumbs up and like us on those different respective YouTube and so forth. Give us a thumbs up, give us a rating. And also, if you have not joined our free Facebook group, please do so. It's the Efficiency Now Network. Or you can check out my website, which is drevelynteaguesamuel.com. So this podcast, Efficient Practice Podcast, is a podcast that is for you if you have an efficient dental practice or medical practice, or if you are using efficient practices to run your business better, then this show is for you. So stay tuned. We have a lot of exciting things coming up. And until next time, we'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.